You feel like the current VP has failed the president?
He has not failed. He has failed the country in that he must discharge his duties according to his mandate. And his mandate is that of the ruling party. He is there because of the ruling party. And he must respect the ruling party. He must respect cabinet. He must respect the Politburo. He must respect the CAB3. He has been against CAB3. Are you with me?
Has he spoken publicly to say, I'm against CAB3?
He is not for CAB3. It's Mondi, who was a commander of Manica province. Bengi. These were commanders in the forefront. There are those who were part of the struggle who were mobilizing in the commissariat, but were not in the forefront like the vice president. Are you with me? These guys were in the forefront leading the war, commanding the war. Are you with me? So everybody played a part. So at no point should we say this one was the best, this one was the worst. You cannot talk about that. Any leader who shows disrespect to the principle, to the center of power, he has shown disrespect.
Temba Mliswa hates the current VP, Constantino Dominic Gouveia Chiwenga. Is that true?
You see, I've got principles, morals, or values, and values. I have the utmost respect for the vice president as a human being, as a person who has fought for this country, who has contributed to this country, just like many others.
The questions are, who do I tell? Who do I ask? That's between you and me every single day. We're asking ourselves questions. We see issues on social media, we see trending questions, but we really don't know who to ask. Worry not, because the fix is there to solve exactly that. We talk about socio-economic issues, and we talk to the movers and the shakers, so that you and I can have the answers to make sure that our sleep is a lot more peaceful in this our motherland. So make sure you do not miss out on that one. My name is Erica Ndora, and I'll be with you every single week on The Fix while we try to fix that gap, the questions and the answers. Make sure you catch up with us on our social media platforms. That is at The Fix ZW. You can also follow me at Erica Ndoro to make sure everything is in sync, and I'm talking about the questions, the conversation. It is at The Fix ZW.
A lot is happening in our country. Parliament has begun the process to change the constitution through CAB3. We don't know where we're going as a country. It seems as if slowly but surely the president will be voted by MPs come the next election. When will they be? Nobody knows about it. Will CAB3 succeed or not? We have heard allegations of state capture. All these are issues that the country is talking about, and nobody knows whether they are true or not. But to help us dissect these issues, give us a perspective from an independent perspective, is none other than the former ZANU-PF provincial chairperson for Mashonaland West Province, former MP for Norton and Urungwe. He is now a headman, I would say, sub-book, Temba Mliswa. Welcome to Ozim News and the social media.
Former chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, former chairman of primary and secondary school, former chairman of the mining development, 3 portfolios in 3 years. How could you forget that?
Also the former trainer, fitness trainer for rugby.
Former chairman for Dynamo's Football Club.
Oh yes, what a man loaded.
Director of coaching for cricket, director of coaching for rugby.
Buru, they call him. He's a bull, and is in the house to help us. Let's begin here. Mr. Mliswa, you have stood and supported CAB3. What's the motive behind?
Consistency, continuity, democracy, and at the same time, making sure that we are able to have a nation which equally speaks out, but at the same time allowing those to work. Progress is critical in terms of identifying the caliber of leadership we want after experiencing a number of leaders in the country. And what you want is for the future, for your generations to come. And in this instance, my own children. how do I want the future to be shaped? You know, it's about shaping your future. And I think my participation in this and believing it is about shaping a future for my children's generation.
But in doing that, you talk about democracy, which was already there. 5-year term for president was democracy in action. Why pushing for 7 years? Why pushing for removal of electing the president by MPs and not this direct, a right which for years we have enjoyed? What does it bring on the table?
Democracy is exercised through the Constitution. And Section 328 of the Constitution is very clear in that the Constitution can be amended. It can be amended. If we agree on that, then it's not for you to question on the amendments. It's those who believe and who are in leadership and power who believe that we will amend the Constitution for the good governance, of the nation. And it's a democratic process. And in it being a democratic process, the Constitution has got to play its role in this. I think people seem to underestimate their role when it comes to voting. You know, the power your vote has. Your vote can either shape your future or give you a future which you did not anticipate, because we all want to believe that if I've not voted, I've exercised my rights. And that those who vote who also say we've exercised their rights. And most of the people who then become negative are people who had not exercised their rights. I pushed one thing in Parliament to say that whoever does not vote must be penalized, because that's taxpayers' money. You are not on the voters' roll. You're not registering to vote on the voters' roll, but you continuously talk. Look at the percentage of people who vote vis-a-vis those who are on the voters' roll. So we must start from there. That is our country serious about change? Because you cannot be serious about change when events are happening by the majority. The majority will have their way, the minority will have their say. They're more comfortable with being the minority and having their say, and polarization of politics than playing a part at the expense of your own democracy. Democracy, if you have not voted, sit down.
So in short, you're saying that those who are opposing CAB3 failed to exercise their right to vote for more people in Parliament who would echo their voice. That's what you're trying to say?
Today, here is the true story. The people representing them are the members of Parliament. Are they not constitutionally there? They're constitutionally there. We must be very clear. Members of Parliament, councillors were voted into being in power.
And their term is ending in 2028, but this bill is trying to take it to 2030. Does that really give democracy meaning?
328 of the Constitution is subject to change. Where a referendum is needed is the Bill of Rights. The thing land tenure, okay? Those are some of the two issues. And term of office, the third one. Those require a referendum. So the Constitution talks to the various sections that require that. Land tenure, Bill of Rights, and changing the term. This is not changing the term.
What are we doing?
Extending.
Well, what is extending? You're changing the term. A term is specified 5 years. You are telling us it's now 7 years. Automatically, you have changed the term. It no longer be the same term as it was in the Constitution.
You see, it's you going for a third term. It's you going for a third term. Let's understand, a third term is 5 years. So if, as a president, you are there for the first term, you go into the second term, the issue is upon your tenure coming to an end and elections then are needed. Then you say, I want a third term. Then we go to a referendum. It's a question of semantics. It's a question of how you want to read the law. Okay? It's very clear. Okay, I'm sitting here for 5 years. 5 years is done, I get up. And I go into the second term, I sit down. I'm still in the second term. I'm not in the third term. When the the second term then ends, I get up. If I want to go for the third term now, then the referendum kicks in.
But what's the motivation of extending the term, really? Look, in our region, really, there's been that attempt. There's been, look at Zambia, they tried it. It was when during the Chirwa era, he tried to extend or change his term. What's still the motivation? Some would say it's the love of power and not the also the abuse of power by those in the
What
government.
surprises me with our people is different strokes for different folks. For how long was the former late president in power for?
But we can't
So
perpetuate.
suddenly a term is important now when it was termless.
But hence we had the 2018 election.
Let's actually be grateful that we can even talk about terms, because there was never a mention of a term, and no one could even talk about a term.
But for surely, for crying out loud.
No.
Mliswa,
How many years?
We can't, for
How
sure.
many years?
He said 7 years. But those 7 years were done, and they brought us to where we are economically. They brought challenges for this country. We don't want, as a country, to go back those dark ages, Temba.
He kept on extending his thing because the Constitution allowed him to. But on this one, are you with me? On this one, okay? On this one is different in that then we came up with the law that only two terms of 5 years, 5 years can a sitting president serve. Upon them needing the third term of 5 years, then a referendum is then needed.
But you and I agree how Robert Mugabe left office. Unwillingly, he left office. Cleaning on it, he left office. Do you want Emerson Mnangagwa to go the same route?
Comrade Mnangagwa will never get to think 37 years, so he will never go through that route.
But and also, do you agree with me that ZANU-PF has never changed the power?
He is very safe. He will never go through that route. 37 years.
He might not go the same route of 37 years, but the departure lounge there's a possibility it might be the same, given that after the term when people wanted him to be in power, he's imposing a two-year term extra.
It's not him imposing, it is the party, the ruling party. People must understand the power of the ruling party. The power of the ruling party is that the power party is supreme. Government is made from a political party. That's why we change the government one way party. And if you understand that, because people take these things lightly, young kids growing up, they don't understand when you're told that the political party in power is supreme. And it's more powerful than government because it forms the government.
Robert Mugabe said the same sentiments. The people still want me.
Yes.
The people still want me.
Yes.
Until he was removed by the military.
He was never removed by the military. He was removed by parliament, and I was one of the key people. But okay, we impeached him. We were going for an impeachment, then he resigned. That we must be very clear. At what point did the military, I did not see any general in parliament. I did not see army uniforms in parliament. But I saw parliamentarians using their power to impeach the president. Then he resigned. The letter is of resignation.
It's there.
Because that's one thing that we need to correct. Why do you believe that there was a coup?
The military had to roll. Those affected Mliswa.
We had to do what?
They had to furthermore give a warning.
A coup in a country is run by the military itself. When they do a coup, one of them runs the country, not a civilian.
They had to
No,
take it.
let me tell
They
you.
had to take the coup
No,
to private
a
school
coup.
and
Let
make
me
it civilized.
educate Zimbabweans
civilized
today.
coup.
Let me educate Zimbabweans today. When a coup happens, it is the soldiers who run the country, not the civilians. The moment a civilian runs the country, it's no longer a coup because he's not a soldier. Zimbabweans must learn today, because at times they talk without thinking. They're educated, they're well-read, but wisdom lacks. A coup is when the army takes over, when a captain of the army or major usually takes over. At what point was this country run by a captain, a major, or a general?
We remember very well, on the 14th of November, Swiss Moy appeared on television in uniform, not in a civilian clothes, in uniform, and told us the country has moved into another level. From that moment, Robert Mugabe's power was no longer the same. You and I agree. ZANU-PF Central Committee sat to deliberate on his fact. Parliament was also sitting. That was created by the fertile ground by the military.
The army has the right to appear on TV too. So the police. I wish they have a right to appear on TV and say what they want, but appearing on TV is not taking over.
So what was the role of the military in 2017, in your view?
The role of the military was to maintain law and order, invited by the police, according to section 212 to 14 of the Constitution, in that if there are too many people, okay, and the police hasn't got enough manpower, they have the right to invite the army behind them to maintain law and order. It was a people's march where the people, if there's anything, we must be talking about how the opposition was very much a factor involved in this.
I agree with you.
I don't know why we ignore that.
I agree with you.
am one of the few people who was asked by the war veterans, asked Comrade Mahia, Comrade Temba, to go and negotiate with the war veterans because I was an independent member of Parliament so that they could join in. We have the history of this. I went and spoke to the war veterans. I went and spoke to the late Tagwireyi. He was for it. And to me, that's what we miss in this conversation, that the opposition was instrumental in ensuring that the Second Republic was there.
Fair and fine. We won't talk about
now
this
we can
too
talk
much.
not a coup.
Fair and fine.
Maybe we can say that there was a coup on the opposition because they were never given positions. Maybe that's what we should be talking about.
Fair and fine, but the fact of the matter is the army was involved. Whether it's a coup or not, that's for scholars maybe to look at it. But do you agree with me, Temba, that since the birth of ZANU-PF, there's never been a moment when power within ZANU-PF has been transferred willingly from the incumbent to the ruler, or to the one who's coming after. Look at it. The name is Tole. Robert Mugabe came in through a coup. Mnangagwa came through. While you have refused the coup, but there was that kind of a thing. There is also a risk.
In America too, even Donald Trump, when he got in power, there was noise. Even in my own village, when I wanted to be village head, there was a problem. So there will always be a problem where there are issues of power. That's why even Paumambo, one wants to be a chief. You are told, no, you can't be a chief because your father was a thief. This family cannot. And if you buy into that, you are gone. It's a matter of strategy, tactic, and who is the strongest.
But we agree with you. ZANU-PF power has never changed the hands peacefully as one would have thought. Look at ANC, they've done it so well. They've taught Africa that power can move from Jacob Zuma to Cyril Ramaphosa, from Nelson Mandela to from Thabo Mbeki to Zuma. Even if they didn't want, but there was that kind of a change, and not in ZANU-PF. Why?
The democracy that South Africa enjoys is not the same as the democracy of Zimbabwe. We went to war, and the white men surrendered. In South Africa, the white men has not surrendered, and they've not gone to war. Blood was shed. We can't just give power like that. It doesn't work where people died for this country and we think somebody must come in and just take over without reassuring and without moving with the founding principles of the struggle. My father was Zapu. I was born in Zambia. That's why people say we are Zambian. It was because of the liberation struggle. Tongo Gara went there. And today they say, oh, President Mnangagwa is Zambian. We are from Zambia. He went there because of the liberation struggle here, fighting the regime during the Rhodesian time. He had to go there, and we are thankful to the late KK, Kenneth Kaunda, for having been a leader who was supportive of the liberation of Zimbabwe until we got in the independence. We went to war. That's one thing you must be proud about us. That's why our independence is different from many who did not go to war, who did not fight, and no one died. We are different. South Africa negotiated for freedom. We went to war. Negotiating for freedom and going to war are two different things, and people dying.
Temba Mliswa, today, Parliament has just begun the process to bring in CAB3. Let's flash back. In 2017, ZANU-PF was actually beginning to talk about taking back the vice president's seat, which was held by Emmerson Mnangagwa then, before he was fired, to a woman, as it was when Joyce Mujuru was elected as VP in 2004. We're in a mood whereby a certain clique in ZANU-PF was enjoying that massive support. They were doing things willy-nilly. In your view, as you look back and look now, don't you think we're in that moment, the pre-November 2017 currently?
No, we are not at all. One thing that is pretty clear is that there's one center of power, totally in control.
Robert Mugabe that enjoyed power as well.
But are you also aware that the person who was behind the late president's power in terms of guiding, in terms of being supported, was ED?
Definitely
Yes
was.
or no? Thank you.
Yes,
so he's
was.
the master of the game. He's the master of the
There's
game.
always
Do you agree?
Yes, he's the master of the game. There's always one thing that they say. There's a physician.
Even
can't
when you're
keep
playing
himself.
chess, there's the master of the game in playing
There's
chess.
also a statement that says a physician cannot treat himself.
No, he's not treating himself.
And also they say a master will not be a master forever. There's a day when
People
when he falls down.
people are yearning for him to continue going for the third term. He said no. In fact, it must be attributed for being the first leader to say no third term. But the extension again is constitution is very constitutional about issues. As long because there's nothing unconstitutional about the process. He's always said I'm a constitutionalist. Again, why are we rushing? 2028 is not there. What about he says I don't want to stay in 2028? Why are we rushing? Why are we preempting? The same way these court applications have been going before the Constitutional Court, before the bill is out. Already you have to go to court once the bill is ascended to. The bill can be out, but it becomes a bill, it becomes law when the president has signed. But let's be very clear. We don't want to be preempting, and we don't want to be immature about processes. Are you with me? The law is only the law when it's signed. That's when people can now approach the courts, not before that. Lawyers.
But you and I agree that the law is made by two things: the process and its finality. The process leading to.
I told you. So let us allow the process to go through, because Parliament will agree to it. The Senate will approve it, but will pass it, as would use in Parliament. It will pass the thing. But the final signature is with the president. Why don't we wait to see, will he sign or will he not sign?
But what about if the process itself makes the entire law illegitimate? How then should people then fold their arms and say, well, let's wait until he signs, even if you see that the process being followed to is not right?
Do you know the positive about this? I told you, I come from a ZAPU background.
Yes.
Where the president, ZANU-PF, where the first vice president, ZANU-PF, second vice president, ZAPU. That was not fair. Now, the good things about that constitution, there's no first president, there's no second vice president, there's no first vice president, there's no second vice president. There will not be a first vice president ZANU-PF, there will not be a second vice president ZAPU, because ZAPU equally contributed as much to the struggle.
I agree with you.
And it's about time we move towards the debate. It's about time we move towards a ZAPU president.
But one thing
That's what my debate is. When are we going to get a ZAPU president? That's what we must be talking about.
This bill, Temba, does not talk about empowering a region. It talks about removing the people from voting for the president, giving that authority to MPs. Nowhere does it say, because there will be a deliberate ploy to say, let's give a ZAPU. How does that come in?
Let's talk about one man, one vote. What was one man, one vote all about? One man, one vote was about discrimination where blacks were not allowed to vote. A certain category voted, so they had no right to vote. When independence happened, each black person was allowed to vote. That's the one man, one vote, because they were not allowed to vote. Are you with me? Secondly, what we must understand about one man, one vote is that when we then had blacks voting in 1980, they could vote for whoever they wanted. They had the very same system that we're trying to fight, where members of parliament were voted into, and members of parliament then are the ones who then voted for who the president should be. The process has been there before. This is fresh from the liberation struggle, where people's founding principles were still fresh in them to say, this is what we have just decided to go back to that because we believe it is more progressive. We have decided to go back to that.
But what's so bad about people voting for the president whom they want directly? What's bad about it?
No, there is absolutely nothing bad, but it's more progressive that they come through a system where if the president does not perform, he can be impeached by parliament. And parliament has the power to impeach. This is why the power does not reside in the president. It resides in the people who are members of parliament, who have been voted by the people to be members of parliament. So democracy still exists because the member of parliament's power comes from the people. And then he represents the people. He then can also vote for the president or not vote for the president. What more do you want?
But do you agree with me that when it comes to MPs, most of them, you and I agree, you have in parliament, I've covered parliament for many years, some MPs that are voted for there by the people, for whatever reason, can't even speak in parliament. The entire session will end without an MP uttering a word. This is an MP you want to entrust with the role to vote for the president. An MP who can't even digest or not even contribute to a national debate about the future of how this country. You and I agree that in Zimbabwe's leadership or Zimbabwe governance has always been about the president who commands his down. It's about up-down authority. Now you want to give people, some of whom who can't even write. You and then Temba even in parliament, you know this.
The beauty of democracy, and democracy is stubborn, is that people will vote who they want. I was a vibrant member of parliament representing Norton. Norton is crying, but they went and chose who they wanted, who will never be at my time in many years is given, but I accepted democracy. I did not cry. I respected the will of the people. Let's respect the will of the people, whether educated or not educated. But that is the will of the people.
But you and I agree, Temba, that in Zimbabwean African politics, by and large, it has been about the person leading the party, not about those people who are supporting him. And in this case, we remove Emerson Mnangagwa. Always the question would be, who will come in? It's about the individual. And you are removing that aspect from the people, telling them must vote for an MP with respect. You talk about the person who won against you. Maybe for him, he could have spoken in parliament once or twice. There are MPs in parliament, Temba. We have never, ever uttered the word in parliament. And you want those people to shape and share the future.
Okay, what about if those people are voted in by people who don't talk to? Should they not be in parliament?
Maybe they are in parliament because maybe they bought beer. They bought 4 or 5 crates of beer. They gave people sugar and the like. So we want them to vote for a president.
So now, the very same people, you also want them to vote for the president when you're basically saying they failed to vote for the member of parliament. And then we now promote them to go and vote for the president. No, they must stop. Let them grow up maturely, politically, and then they can know. That, you see, if you look at what has been the problem in the country, is the presidential election. It's always been narrow, and in being narrow, it's created problems. We must be having a government which has everybody. And I'm looking forward to this bill being passed, that the president will also be able to pick certain members of the opposition who can contribute to this country. That, to me, is what I'm looking forward to, an inclusive government because of merit. That's what puts us together.
But you know, you and I agree, ZANU-PF has already made.
And I believe the only person who's tolerant to do that is the current president.
He had the opportunity since 2018 when you and I agree. You said that Morgan Tsvangirai supported his coming into office. But what? How did he turn? How did he?
No, but you know that the leader of the opposition then, Sekurangu Moyo Nelson Chamisa, refused to be the leader of the opposition in parliament. He was given all those proposals, and he said no to them. So who do you blame? Was
he the only one in parliament by then?
No, he was the leader.
No. We had
the president.
In fact, Morgan Tsvangirai, according to those people close to him, says he felt or he thought that there'll be an inclusive government somehow post Mugabe era in transition.
Let me tell you, Tsvangirai agreed to it.
And what did the president Emerson Mnangagwa do about it?
Tsvangirai, the late agreeing to it, may so respect. It was for the interests of the nation, not himself. The current political leaders that you have in the opposition are about themselves.
I mean,
and we are tired of political leaders who are about themselves. We want political leaders who are for the people. And ED remains one of the few people. That's why we are saying that he must carry us to a point where we are safe, and then our generation takes over. This whole generation of being in the struggle, being this and that, we understand the struggle. We will move forward with the founding principles of the struggle, but never again. In fact, we will do more for those in the struggle than those who were there who did not do enough. And this is an opportunity for the current president to leave us safe, where we can now navigate moving forward. There are many young people who are capable of lifting this country. You can see the wealth in this country. You can see the intelligence of the people in this country, the human capital which is there, and so forth. Now the president has that responsibility of ushering new leadership as he gets to the end of office.
He gets the end of office, which you're extending. Those are two things. There are two different things. When legally or constitutionally, 10 years he had been given. 10 years plus, you heard about months, from 2017, 2018. Those were good months.
You cannot.
Those were good months.
Now. Have you ever done a relay? Have you ever run in
I've done a relay.
You can't give the button stick when one is not ready and they are too far.
You prepare.
We want. Now we are getting closer. The younger generation are getting closer. That button stick must be passed on to us. We're a bit too far. Now we are getting close. So allow the button stick to be passed to our generation, and then we move forward.
So are you trying to tell me that this bill is preparing for someone, post Mnangagwa, who must come in, not those who are currently with him?
No. But whoever is gonna take over from the president has got to deal with processes, like you've said. I like the word processes internally in the party. Are they strong enough? Are they strong enough in parliament and so forth? So it's just not a handshake. It's more than that. Are you with me?
Mnangagwa is what he is because he learned through the ropes of Robert Mugabe. He was the right-hand man of Robert Mugabe for years, right? You and I agree. He was the man Robert Mugabe trusted for years. Henceforth, if anyone is to come in, should have had an opportunity to learn through the process, understood how every aspect of governance is done. Do you agree with me?
I think we're moving towards a different position in that we want economically driven people. It's about economics. Politics, we've understood. But what is important and what is an aspect of the founding principles of struggle is economic emancipation. Economic emancipation is about people's welfare and the well-being being improved. We must appreciate that when they went to the struggle, they were young. They had not finished their academics the way they wanted. They did it later and so forth. They came back and put a great foundation of academics. We've got a powerful academia in this country. And now let them pass the baton stick to our generation. There are other generations who were supposed to have had this baton stick passed, but they decided to become business and so forth. We have decided to go into politics, and I think we would never let this country down. We would never let the people who fought this country down. And because we are well tuned, we are mature about a lot of things, and it's about a Zimbabwean agenda. Despite the different views, the Constitution is very clear about its preamble. Despite the diverse views we have, we must still remain Zimbabweans at the end of it. That's why you and I can talk like this and all that. But the moment that you then, emotions get the best out of you, and I've seen people being emotional in politics to a point where they don't even go and attend their relative's funeral because they belong to this party, and so forth. Ubuntu, the moment that you lose Ubuntu, we are no longer a nation. We must uphold Ubuntu. Violence, I don't support. I support us having the ability to speak our mind, to debate and so forth. Yes, there are some people within who spoiled this CAB3. I think there were people who were planted to soil it by not allowing other people to air their views. It's only a few, it's not the majority and so forth. We were in the rural areas. I'm the president of the Zimbabwe Village Heads Association. There was calm in the rural areas. No wonder why, if you want to see Ubuntu, visit the village.
I'm glad you are a headman. And,
I'm a village head.
You're a village head. I like that. The bill is tampering with the rights of chiefs. It's tampering, it's giving them the right to be publicly known for politics or which party they support. Do you think that's good?
It's dealing with traditional leadership.
Yes.
Getting involved in politics.
Do you think that's good? From you preside over.
Let's be very clear. And we want to be honest. Which traditional leader has never been involved in politics? Which traditional leader is not involved in what happens in the country?
They are involved.
Let me tell you some of the powers a village head has. We represent people. I said we represent people. I'll come back to that. Is that if there's a theft at a school within my village, it's not the mandate of the people to report. It's me who goes and reports the theft. If there's a theft at the clinic in my village, it is me who goes and reports the theft as a village head or a headman. The reason why is because they trust us to know within our village who are the culprits, and we're able to give them a lead. Did you know that?
Yes.
Are you understanding?
Yes.
So during the liberation struggle, the traditional leaders, the ancestors of this country, the spirit mediums, were involved in giving direction to the people fighting in the war so that we could win the war. The Zimbabwean war was not won by the brilliance of people holding firearms. It was won by the spiritualness of our country, which is traditional, which we must never forget. So how do you remove the traditional leader from politics when he was the one who used to gather people, when he's the one who used to inform and protect people? How do you leave them out? That was one of the biggest mistakes, because you now go far and you realize that you're on your own because the traditional leaders. The army in this country is not the first line of defense in terms of democracy. It is the last line of defense in terms of security. The last line of defense in this country is the traditional leadership, because the president is there, Mubuku Masabuku. Mambo, ari Mubuku Masabuku. Are you understanding?
I agree with you.
Masabuku. Ndo vaneyese, ndo vakabata nyika sema traditional leaders. We work with the government. We are paid $80. And because of that, we naturally, automatically align ourselves to the ruling party, because it is the government
of the day.
I
agree with
so
you.
To me, how then do you exonerate them, or how do you remove them from being involved in politics
my question
when they're paid by the ruling party?
My question is, here is Temba Mliswa, the headman. He has been allowed to publicly state his political affiliations. Here is Tosani Ngcobe. Hypothetically, I say, stands in as a triple C, assumably to be there forever, stands in as a candidate for triple C. I fight with somebody from ZANU-PF, and we appear before your court as a village head. We appear before your court. Kwasabuku, kune problem taita kuntarwa, and our fight involves a border of our fields, right? Those are issues you deal with, and we come naturally. Here's a person whom the party you support, and he is an opponent from your party. How do you expect that kind of leadership?
Do you know traditional leadership, or the gift you have, and the gift many other people have, is very spiritual. And it being spiritual, you are given that blessing and that insight to be able to separate issues which are political and that of people living together. One of the areas where people are well represented in terms of matarinyaya kutua paramosha is the village, because we always attend to issues where at the end of the day there must be healing. Are you with me? Even mombe, understand. Ndosaka kuti nyaya dzakawanda dzakubirana mombe mumaruzeva ngadzi kwatiri masabu kuma traditional leaders madzimambo and so forth. Are you with me? We do work. Okay, let me tell you. The chief is the minister. The headman is the deputy minister. The village head is the permanent secretary. Working for these two leaders at the top. We deal with a lot of issues. And what we want to see is people living together in harmony. And because of that, whatever we bring before our assemblies, the village assembly, must end in such a way that there is healing. But if you go to a court in Harare, Magistrate High Court, kana vatonga mtemo, hapana healing.
But Temba, you and I agree.
Kana unabirana mombe mu village ka vanogona togona kuvatongesa vowirirana vodzosera mombe dzavo vogara pamwe chete futi.
But you and I Temba agree on this issue. Even now, before this bill has been passed, already there have been complaints about chiefs accused of being of partisan distribution of being it imports, being it food aid and the like. They've been always accused. What more now if they are allowed to politically stand and say, "Ini Satemba Mliswa Ndruwezana," examples I give. What more? What kind of polarization that create?
It's the same thing that every election, and most of the elections, there have been those who say we have been rigged. It has become a way.
But is that not true?
Life. It has become a way of life.
No.
Continues.
Fine, let's agree. Does that not happen in villages? Kuti kune vanhu vanoshaya mbesa dzekudyara because maybe they are from this.
Why don't you come to my village and ask that is there discrimination? Too, they're allowed to do what they want to do. They even use my own place to come and have meetings, which I've allowed them to do. They invite the opposition. I'm telling them, don't campaign during election time. Campaign now. Come and we will open this to the people. No one has ever been given an instruction to stop people from coming. Our chiefs are very clear. They're very democratic in their own space and so forth. And in so doing, we have to do that. The chief, you blame the chief. The chief has mandates the village head to continue the meeting or to stop the meeting. Sabuku ndiye anoti mine kuti even mambo kana achida kuita msangano kubhuku kwangu ini wangu ndi mambo banga vanotondifonera kuti Temba Sabuku Mliswa unganidzai vanhu musi wakati. Saka mambo anopinda papi unless makublema isusu ma villages, but isusu we are fair. And why can't we also get into politics already? Tine zodzo rekutungamirira, tine gift rekutungamirira.
Well, it's ancestral. It's runs
exactly.
So it runs in the blood.
No wonder why isusu were not elected. But we are appointed.
But you and I agree that there is a fear that this could create or deepen polarization. If you go by to say, look, imi makaninyima mbesa nekuti ni pa rally yetriposi yangu ndakatuka Sabuku imimi makatora munda wangu, saka I'm going to reverse that when I get into power.
There is no one who's perfect, and such things happen where people are. I cannot say they don't happen, but there are also some people who also, because you know what, Zimbabweans have always looked forward to the international community interfering with our process of elections. Suddenly, for the first time, and thank God, God has his ways. Donald Trump is busy America with a lot of things there. Britain, all the countries that used to support, some of these organizations cannot do that anymore. They don't have the resources. That's why there's peace. Because they always wanted that outside voice to tell us what to do. We're a sovereign nation, and there's no leader who allow us to be told what to do. We are independent, and that independence must be seen through. We rely on external forces.
So scholars will tell you that the absence of violence is not peace. What about is there something boiling within the fabric of society? To see people are boiling, the democratic space has been shrunk down, the NGO sector has been closed down financially, also by law.
What do you expect in a nation where people have become self-employed content creators? Are we
happy? Are you happy that you are a leader?
No. But content creation is a narrative which is more of a propaganda, where you want to be negative So we are used to how many things have been said about me which are negative, which if you look at, and so forth. So we have continued. You see, still tanini, apana chaunga taure, Mliswa kawani koko, ane makinya ni mari, Mliswa ne AIDS, amda na mdika AIDS, Mliswa kaba mombe, there can be stories, but for how long you know that? But we've continued to move because there's nothing that sticks with us. In fact, we are hardened. How many times was I arrested? Over 70 times, you know that, in and out. Did that make me a less person? It gave me the determination. It made me develop a thick skin. Just even because I know at the end of the day, there is nothing that will come out which will stick. So to me, we must have a nation which has got people who are responsible, because you don't know who the next president is. The very same person who's creating content and being negative that the country will be president. And how do you run a president with so much negativity? You can't. We must be positive.
Let's go back a bit. You spoke about that there is need for a new generation to come into power.
No two ways about it.
Are you discarding those in power helping Mnangagwa at present from taking over?
No. Everything is generational.
I mean,
you see, there is a war.
Yes.
We are going. There's a war. They have done very well, and to me, they are also aware that for this country to be safe, there's got to be a generation whose ideology is correct for this country to continue doing the good it has to do for the people within the framework of the founding principles of the struggle. We have gotten there, and to me, it's the prerogative of the president to choose who he wants and so forth. I also have the right in this country to say we have a great president who I think will leave this country in good hands. And we pray for that. And in good hands means a generation that will continue doing good for the country, where the president, wherever he is, can be approached for advice, because that's what we do. I still go to the headman when things are difficult in the village. I still go to the chief when things are difficult. So we will always appear before them for advice. And the sooner we are able to get into that, the better. What more do people want? People have fought for the country. They want a better welfare. And a certain generation does continue.
Let me not meander around. Are you saying, Temba, Kembo Mohadi, the current VP, in your view, shouldn't take over from Mnangagwa? His era is over.
No, listen. One thing you must understand is that they are there because they grew up with the president. They did a lot for the country and so forth. Are you with me? And
that journey has to come to an end.
And not only that, they have been grooming and working with young people. You must understand that. And it's part of their mandate to ensure that a certain generation, which they trust, is able to take this country forward and continue with the vision of this country, which they started.
There is this notion that has been created to say Temba Mliswa hates the current VP, Constantino Dominic Gouveia Chiwenga. Is that true?
You see, I've got principles, morals, or values. I have the utmost respect for the Vice President as a human being, as a person who has fought for this country, who has contributed to this country, just like many others. There's no one outstanding when it comes to representing this country. There are people who died, who also did a lot. There's Nikita Mangena. There's Josiah Tongogara. Are you with me? Mujuru. There's Narashi.
And also your close men, Parents Shiri.
Are you with me? Who was the commander of Tete province at a young age. Zimondi, who was a commander of Manica province. Bengi. These were commanders in the forefront. There are those who were part of the struggle who were mobilizing in the commissariat, but were not in the forefront like the vice president. Are you with me? These guys were in the forefront leading the war, commanding the war. Are you with me? So everybody played a part. So at no point should we say this one was the best, this one was the worst. You cannot talk about that because, are you with me?
The question is...
Okay, I'm answering.
Yes.
And the president, in his wisdom, saw it fit to appoint people who were at war, who would ensure that this country moves forward. What I'm against is any leader who shows disrespect to the principle, to the center of power. He has shown disrespect.
How?
I am asking you, let's go back to how the current president was treated by the First Republic at rallies and everything.
Yes,
Did you hear him comment to the president? You could see the president, late Mugabe, being able to basically attack him, to humiliate him in front of everybody. He was quiet, he did not answer. Did you ever hear of him answering in the Politburo, going? They had their place to talk and to iron out. Are you understanding?
No, Mnangagwa, the Politburo spoke. Actually, he brought in a very strong rebuttal to those who were opposed to his rise. You remember very well. Johnson Moyo, Kasukuwere, Tokofum, Prezela Mpoko, Patrick Joao, and the crew, that Politburo, were there, saying he has got no capacity to...
No, we're talking...
Yeah, so in the Politburo, he did so within themselves.
So basically, what I'm saying to you is that stick to your lane. Respect the thing. When you're bringing in, when you're bringing documents, okay, which are said to be from the Presidium, yet they're not from the Presidium. People have written them, and then you talk about these issues of Ganandas and so forth. Is that not an issue, with due respect, that could have been discussed within the Presidium, because there are briefs, there are caucuses, are you with me? Which are very, and to me supported by evidence.
But the question,
it was rebutted.
The question ought to be Temba.
Zambi, because it was not true. And to me, he has continued. Listen, he has to be part of a team. When cabinet makes a decision, you argue your facts there. It is a collective responsibility that you move with it. Are you with him? CAB3. He has been against CAB3. Are you with me?
Has he spoken publicly to say, I'm against CAB3?
He is not for CAB3. It is well known.
Has he personally to say, Constantino Chiwenga say this on this
he
day?
Personally supported CAB3.
Well, if you look at
he must be supporting.
If you look at it,
hold on. In terms of the party resolution, in terms of cabinet, in terms of Politburo, in terms of the people of Zimbabwe, he must be supporting CAB3. Have you heard him support CAB3?
If you look at it, Temba, he's the first person, way before it began about 2030, he's the first person who said, "Kana mazo farisa President Tava, where that was in the first term of the president. Do you remember that time?
He has never.
Do you know about
he
what
has
he did
never
before?
issued. He has never issued a statement to say contrary to what is being said about CAB3. I'm in very much in support of it because it's a party resolution. He has not said that.
So for you, you feel like the current VP has failed the president?
He has not failed. He has failed the country in that he must discharge his duties according to his mandate. And his mandate is that of the ruling party. He is there because of the ruling party. And he must respect the ruling party. He must respect cabinet. He must respect the Politburo. He must respect the Central Committee. These are some of the things when you get into ZANU-PF. I was the chairman of ZANU-PF. Are you with me?
Yes.
And in being chairman of ZANU-PF, the constitution is very clear. You cannot go against the party resolution. You must be seen to be advancing the party resolution. Where is he advanced the party resolution?
But you and I agree that even Mnangagwa, when he was planning his coming into power, he had people...
He attended rallies. Some of the meetings he does not attend. He attended rallies where he was being attacked with the first lady. He would smile.
Is that
would
good?
still go.
Is that good to pretend? In politics, say
you never pretended.
No.
He respected
even if you are being
the
attacked,
center of power.
Even if you are being attacked, you're being mocked, you're being told a lot of names, just attend because you have to attend. Is that good? Is that how politics ought to run?
That is what you do when you are appointed. You must be loyal.
So
That
you are
is the
saying
highest degree
So-
of loyalty.
so
That is the highest degree of loyalty.
so Temba, you're telling me
And
that
he was loyal.
So Temba, you're telling me that, but then he had to remove Robert Mugabe after he fired him.
No,
Is that loyalty?
the president, the late President Mugabe, was removed by the people.
He wrote a letter,
and
by
he
the
was
way.
never
He wrote a letter,
removed
but
by
he
his
and he
NPF
said, in
because
2 weeks' time,
what
you will be gone. And for sure, he was gone.
You don't understand that. Are you with me? The former president, and had crossed the line.
So, okay.
Had crossed the line, and ZANU-PF, so that you know today in this interview, Honorable James Maridadi and myself were the first people to move the impeachment on the president. So that you know people don't. So
Way
that-
before the-
Hold on,
yes, yes.
way before this happened.
Yes, I know.
But that could not be tabled in
Because you had
Parliament.
no army to support you.
No, you are not understanding.
No, let's
That-
agree.
no.
You did that because there was no army
You are
support,
not-
and you received text messages.
Let- we are talking about processes.
Yes.
We had already. I was seconding it. He was moving it.
Yes, I know.
Then, when this whole thing happened, and you could see that things were not going as well, everybody could see it. And one of the issues that you must also understand, old age was being visible to the thing. And not only that, there were now people who, the First Lady, which was quite clear, had also become influential, working with a grouping of Jonathan Moyo, Kasukwere, and Joao, and so forth. Are you with me? As G40. That was pretty clear. So you could not allow decisions to be made, and he had to be protected. The removal of President Mugabe was a humane move because of his age.
Okay, fine. Let's agree with. There are those saying today Zambi is the new Kasukwere or the new Johnson Moyo. It's just fitting in the same shoe. In fact, if you read through,
No,
they are saying that we are reading the same script. Nothing has changed.
No.
The way things change, they remain the same.
So for me to finish, then our thinking was then appreciated. I was then approached to say, okay, can you withdraw that with Honorable Maridadi, and then Honorable Mnangagwa from the upper house who moved the motion of impeachment. So I'm talking to you when this whole thing started. I wish I could go back. I'll go back and probably post it and say, show what our thing was. The time. The army was not involved. The army, listen, the army. And then, Honorable Mnangagwa,
in practice
and
and
then
in
we
success of
agreed.
it.
We agreed that Honorable Mnangagwa moved the motion. Honorable Maridadi seconded the motion. Are you with me? I was out. So to me, we long had wanted to do this procedurally. Okay. Are you with me? And that's how the real story is and must be told honestly while we are alive.
Because of time, we have to move quickly so that we can come to the end of the interview. I think we're covering a very good ground, Mr. Mliswa. Now you talk of a new generation. There is a perception among many Zimbabweans to say CAB3 is creating room for Tagwireyi. What's your thing? What's your take of that?
Listen, you hear all these.
Let me begin here.
Okay,
Do you think it's doing
listen,
that?
to me, you know, the way Tagwireyi has become prominent because of the media. You know, indiri nini, indiri kuda Tagwireyi. Ndaitotora chinhu chacho nekuti hapasina kuchiseka nekuti ndatopiwa mbiri. Ndaitogwinya chinhu chacho ndotoenda nacho. Are you with me? He is not like me. Ndaitoti all right. Nekuti he is now prominent. There are voice notes which are coming out where there is no recording. If you really want to have authenticity, record and say this is his voice. And again, there's now AI. A lot of things can be done. Look at the prominence.
AI can't speak Shona.
Hold on. Look at the prominence which has been given. I rose to be famous because I was arrested many times and lies were told about me. I never lost a vote. When I was being arrested, being detained, I go and campaign, I win. Why? People at the end of the day realize, no, this is propaganda. And we are at the worst of propaganda because nobody now listens to propaganda. If there's anything, he's been profiled.
He's been profiled. I agree with
profiled
you. But
big time.
Do you agree with? I mean, in your view, You know Mnangagwa better than anyone else. You're very close. He's your brother. Anashumba mesimaviri. You know Mnangagwa. Do you think Tagwireyi has usurped Mnangagwa's power?
No.
But is it possible?
It will never happen. No. It is a genius in intelligence. He's a genius. That's something I'll tell you. No. On all the issues that happen, do you hear him saying anything? Despite people were like, fire the vice president.
If you look at
hold on, people were lobbying for that his behavior is unbecoming of the vice president. But did he say anything? He didn't. He's still with him there. What a tactician! Quiet. He's still in control of the country. He's still in control of the country.
Where could this notion coming from? Tagwireyi is now the man. Every minister goes and it's true.
These are people who support, to be honest with you, the Chiwenga faction, because the faction is dead and buried. So they're now working on Tagwireyi, seeing him as somebody who's destabilizing and so forth. Faction yawe yafa pasina kana misa yakando.
But do you think Tagwireyi will rule this country one day?
Who?
Tagwireyi.
No. I don't know who will rule this country. I don't know who.
You talk about a generation, and Tagwireyi is younger than Mnangagwa.
But am I also not in the thing generation?
Oh yes.
Who says to you I also don't want it? Ndongoita basa rongo kutaura chokwadi chichemara ndisingatora uchinhera manje. Inini I'm very clear. Ina nakuzvarwa to be the tail. I was born to be the head, say Shumba. I was never born to be the tail. Akuwa singachide ndiani. Nezvivindi zvekunenge nchiita ndichiponeswa naMwari chi wakoma. Ndotadzawo kudyawo here kana kupindawo pazvigaro.
There's also a question that you are on Tagwireyi's payroll and you're doing everything you're doing because Tagwireyi takes care of you. In fact, it comes from a recording that you have never disputed about it, between you and Agrippa Popela, suggesting that if he joins the team, your team, he will live large. You can give him 150,000. Please, what's 0,000?
Let me tell you, Popela, you see, for me,
what's 0,000?
For me, what I say, I don't have to think. Popela was trying to get me to go against the sitting president, to say, why don't we support Tagwireyi? And said, they're inseparable. You see, even to see the president, wedding at Tagwireyi, muzukuru. Saka president, what does kuenda nobata maoko ere, kune amazao, kana kune wazukuru wao. Wakomana. Inini Tagwireyi muzukuru wangu. Andizere. Imimi shuwai kuita muzukuru ane mari unge Tagwireyi. Munopiwawo kana muchipiwawo. Andizere. Sasa sekuru wake hanga ndinyimoka kana ka 10,000 sekuru iye mafuta iyi endai munobata basa hanga ndinyimoka ndo unhu wedu tinopanana but imimi chete mune vazukuru asina mari iso zvongopiwawo yakati wandei pfuura imi chete ndo zvinokurwadzai muzukuru onyima sekuru here ndo famba mutawuni saving rombere aripo muzukuru.
But there's this notion, Mr. Mliswa, that he has made money because he's closer to the president. Therefore, his money is not like him thinking, but it's like the benevolence of being elective the president. Are you telling me that only those who are close to the president must make money?
No. Making money is not about making money. There are people who made money in this country. Strive Masio made money.
You made money during Robert Mugabe era. Underpaying for that matter.
No,
ran out from this country.
There are people like Shingai Mtasa who have made money in this country with me. They've been great business people who have been made money. And let's not mistaken somebody's shrewdness and business acumen. Then you want to turn it into munu and kanakaba zvinu. And I'm not taura is and so forth. We know it's pretty clear the investment is made in CBZ. Are you with me? The investment is made in ZB. The investment is made in many entities and so forth. He made his money from oil. Traffic gura. It's well known. Are you with me? And so forth. And akapiwa Maria Kawanda. Akapinda aka invest. Amnezra aka invest. Inini I made money from tobacco. handitaura hangu mafigures
After matora company
takatora company yemurungu mune 1000 maaccount aba mari tikatoisa mari inini. Are you with me? We also have made money elsewhere. I don't know
Why don't you make peace with him?
but to me, tell me, all these years, if truly I was not a good businessman, so how do I survive?
Why don't you make peace with this white man? I mean,
What? There is no. We went to court.
I mean, court does not
we went,
bring peace.
we went
You
to court.
tell me court
The
doesn't bring peace.
problem is this: you are so colonized that you think every white man is rich. He's a poor white man. Okay, he's a white man who belongs to the streets. The white man in England on my roads. He's one of them.
Definitely.
He was doing drugs and so forth. Are you with me? I took over a shareholding from a black person. There was no money in the account and so forth. I was arrested because they were doing business with the Z-therapy, and the top officials in Z-therapy, like Chiwuri, were getting 10% of the boobas which were made. When I got in, I stopped that and so forth. The agreements are there. We went to court. It was verified. Everything was in order. So if a matter has been before the courts and I've been acquitted, what more do you want to say? I don't know.
Well,
do you honestly believe I'm a thief?
That's an issue.
Do you honestly believe I'm a thief? So you want to believe the white man today?
But he has, he's been very persistent.
He's a white man. In England, who call them trash white people. Trash white people. There are such people. Don't think every white man is rich. By the way, don't think every white and don't think every white man tells the truth. They are poor white people who then use blacks like you to say, ask him what has he got. He has nothing. I assisted him with medication. He was doing drugs and so forth. The wife would come to me. I just don't go out in the public and say the things that we say and so forth. And by the way, I'm not poor. Neither am I rich, but I'm very comfortable at the end of the day. And I don't have to tell you how I make my money. It's not your business.
Lastly, and more importantly, Mr. Mliswa, as we wind down this program, do you think there'll be no change of power in Zimbabwe before 2030?
Listen, this country is a country that believes in God. This country is a country that...
Power illegally or through force or whatever it means?
There'll never, nothing like that will ever happen. There's never been power through force. The only force that was there was the liberation struggle.
Don't you, in your view?
Nothing like that.
Emerson Mnangagwa will never go the Mugabe way, in your view.
How can he go the Mugabe way? He will never. I mean, he's been put there by God. God will protect him and the ancestors will protect him. When you are in power, God also puts you in power. Because let's not say, nokuti muna mumuda anakuiswa pachigaro na mwari. Akaiso tinonamatira vanhu vakapiwa zvigaro. Isu tonamatira kuti president varambe varipo kune minamato yakawanda.
Mwari akasiya Sauro asachamudi. Akaba achitonga iye Mwari asisi aenda kare. It's very possible. God can see, you can be there as a figurehead when power is only left. Biblical is there. Once you mention God. Lastly,
I think to me, he's one person whose exit would be dignified, and you'd have a lot of integrity. He's a good man. He's a kind man.
It's a wish or a reality.
You must understand him. You must know the sort of person he is.
Is that a wish or a reality?
He talks. That's how he's going to be. He wants to make sure that this country is good, and he's made sure of it. And he's made people rich. You know, I've always said this. Let's not complain.
Not everybody, Temba.
No, let's not complain. Let's not point
only
finger.
A few.
Let's talk
of Temba
Mliswa. Let's not talk about.
Here and there, I've made money probably, but not everybody down there are struggling.
Listen to the Zimbabweans. Let's not be jealous. Are you with me? So, one call pane vanhu vane mari utupiwa wakatenda kekusupply matishu kuti mhuri yako irarame. Andizve usati vanhu vemari kana vasangana wakuti ona imbavha and so forth. No, it's not right if you cannot substantiate somebody is a thief.
Definitely.
If you believe I'm a thief, report me to the police and say the police are not acting on Mliswa, he is a thief. Are you with me? So to me, when you saw even those people at Tagwireyi's wedding, it must tell you one thing, and this is a lesson to the young people. You must have a strong network.
There's a strong thinking. There's a strong thinking, Temba.
Kana usina kusimba tiza usanyepe. Kana usina kusimba usanyepe tiza kana usina kusimba.
Temba, there's a strong thinking that the people, the wedding was a show of power, a show of force, and those who are attending
let me tell you.
Test the men and the power of the
Let
authorities.
every parent do the best for their children.
Like you do for your kids.
Are you with me? Yeah.
You take them holidays.
Let it be so. So there is no parent who cannot want to do good for their children, especially your first son. Samusha, unomuitira zvaunogona zvese nemwoyo wako, morambidza kuti munhu afare, muri ifare, takuenda kupatisi vanhu kaenimo. Things must not get to such a point where you are trivializing issues. He has got a powerful network. The people who are giving, are you with me? Are they? If today they are wrong, people give to church millions, but you don't say they've stolen.
CAB3 will pass, and Mnangagwa will sign it into law and live to see it fruition.
The truth of the matter, if I have to tell you, for the first time, I'll be a prophet. It's a done deal.
Temba Mliswa there saying it's a done deal. Whatever, get this from Temba, it's a done deal.
Icho, ndicho, it's a done deal.
For me, and the crew behind All Zim News, please go and like our page, follow us and subscribe so that you won't miss any of our discussion. I love you. Keep loving each other. Zimbabwe is a good country to be with every day. Thank you very much.
The questions are, who do I tell? Who do I ask? That's between you and me every single day. We're asking ourselves questions. We see issues on social media. We see trending questions, but we really don't know who to ask. Worry not, because the fix is there to solve exactly that. We talk about socio-economic issues, and we talk to the movers and the shakers so that you and I can have the answers to make sure that our sleep is a lot more peaceful in this our motherland. So make sure you do not miss out on that one. My name is Erica Ndora, and I'll be with you every single week on The Fix while we try to fix that gap, the questions and the answers. Make sure you catch up with us on our social media platforms. That is at The Fix ZW. You can also follow me at Erica Ndoro to make sure everything is in sync, and I'm talking about the questions, the conversation. It is at The Fix ZW.